Thank you, Mr. President. I keep reminding our colleagues that Ogun East is the old Ijebu province created over 100 years ago that has still not been turned into a state. I come under Order 41 and Order 51, Your Excellency. May I be allowed to?
Please take the first statement.
Your Excellency, our President, Ogun East Senatorial District is the old Ijebu province, one of the 27 provinces created by our colonial masters over 100 years ago. And it still happens to be the only one that has not been turned into a state. It's just a matter of information, Mr. President. One reads that the matter for discussion shall, if possible, be referred to the President of the Senate before commencement of the day's sitting, and the President of the Senate shall refuse to allow the claim unless he is satisfied that the matter is definite and urgent. But also Order 51 on dispensing with notice says that notice shall not be dispensed within the case of a motion or in respect of any other proceeding for which notice is required except with the consent of the President of the Senate and the General Senate of the Senators present. Mr. President, I seek your consent to make this motion on the demise of our late elder statesman, Chief Samuel Ayo Adebajo, who passed on a few days ago. Mr. President, sir, may I?
Distinguished colleagues, distinguished Senator.
Our President, for this indulgence. Distinguished colleagues, this motion is on the demise of Chief Samuel Ayo Adebajo, 1929 to 2025, OFR, who is a pillar of democracy, a guardian of equity, and a bridge to Nigerians' conscience. Let me say, sir, that this bill is also co-sponsored by our Senate leader and 21 other senators listed accordingly. The Senate is asked to note with a deep sense of loss, yet an immense gratitude to the death of a titan of democracy, a fearless statesman, a political activist, and a lifelong advocate for justice and good governance, Chief Ayo Adebajo, at the age of 96 years. The Senate is further asked to note that this icon, leader, and a conscience of the Nigerian nation was born in Isoya, a village near Ijebu within Ogun East Senatorial District of Ogun State, on the 10th of April 1928. He was a journalist before studying law at the United Kingdom, and he was called to the English bar in 1961. The Senate is asked to be aware that the elder statesman began his political journey in 1943 as a follower of Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe before joining the Action Group in 1951, where he became a mentee and political disciple of the late Chief Obafemi Awolowo. The Senate is asked to be mindful that the deceased non-Nigerian fled to Ghana in 1962 following Awolowo's questionable felony trial, and he was charged along with 30 others. He was also arrested and detained multiple times for his political stance and activism. The Senate is further asked to be mindful that Pa Adebajo equally played a major role in the National Democratic Coalition NEDECO protest following the annulment of the June 12, 1993 election, and was a leading voice in the call for Nigerians restructuring and regional autonomy. The late lawyer was a member of both the 1978 Constituent Assembly and the 2014 National Political Conference. The Senate is asked to please recall that the late Afenifere leader over the decades has remained steadfast in the struggle for democracy, standing at the forefront of progressive politics, unwavering in his convictions and unapologetic in his pursuit of justice and equity. He was a man who spoke truth to power, not out of defiance, but out of duty to the ideals of fairness, good governance, and the well-being of the people. The Senate is asked to further record that Pa Adebajo was survived by his 94-year-old wife, Chief Christy Ayo Adebajo. Children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. Was not just a man, but an institution. His life was a long, unbroken testament to resilience, integrity, and an unwavering belief in the power of justice. The Senate is asked to be convinced that this departure is not just a loss to the Yoruba nation, but to Nigeria as a whole. The Senate is accordingly resolved, if I'm permitted to go on, to observe a minute of silence in his honor, to send a high-powered delegation to consult with his family and the people of Ijebu land and the Ogun State government, and to urge the federal government to also mortalize him by naming a national monument after him. Mr. President, sir, if you kindly allow me, in addition to this motion, I would like to just say, with your kind permission, a few words about what I know of Chief Ayo Adebajo. Mr. President, sir, I'm asking for your permission, for your kind permission, to say a few words in addition to the motion that I've just presented.
I thought you were moving the motion.
Motion has been moved, sir.
Then somebody has to second the motion. The Senator Abdul Fattah Buhari.